TheRealToniB, Life with Lupus. And on today's episode, I'm going to be discussing part 2 to my lupus story, but it's really not part 2, it's just part 1, because I skipped over a couple things that I should have probably talked about. But yeah, we're just going to go back to part 1 and talk about a couple of the things I discussed a little bit more in depth. So remember in part 1 when I talked about how I went to the emergency room and I came back with my urine test, and it was telling them like how it was like dark in color or whatever. Okay, so that same day while we were waiting, you guys know emergency rooms take forever. Y'all need to work on that. But emergency rooms take forever. So we were in there for a few hours and I had been eating all day. So I think it was my sister and my dad. One of them ran to Qdoba to go get us some food, and I wanted a quesadilla, a chicken quesadilla so bad 'cause I was so hungry. And by the time they returned, the doctor was like, she just came back, Dr. Raji. She's been with me since the beginning. So she's the one that came back and told me the results of my urine test. So she pretty much was like, oh, yeah, it doesn't look good just based off the color so far. So at that exact moment, I think my dad or sister walked in. I can't remember which one it was. My dad or sister walked in with the food, right? And she was like, oh, is any of that for Tony? And they were like, yeah, we got her chicken quesadilla. They're like, oh, she can't have that.
Oh my God!
What do you mean I can't have that? I ain't eat all day. And they told me I couldn't have it because it had too much sodium. And they could tell by the color of my urine that it was something with my kidneys. So automatically I couldn't have it because it was so high in salt, right? When I tell y'all, I was so mad because I was so hungry. And chicken quesadillas, those are...
This
is when I was a diehard Qdoba fan. Now I really don't care for Qdoba, I care for Chipotle, but that's a whole different video. Chipotle is better. Comment below which one you like better, Chipotle or Qdoba, but I'm team Chipotle all the way, okay? So anyways, they're like, yeah, you can't have it. You have to watch what you're gonna intake right now with like the sodium, so make sure you like try to eat more vegetables and fruits and things low in sodium naturally, right? So I was already pissed. I was like, what do you mean? Like, I could eat whatever. I was eating everything before and I was never swelling, so how is me eating sodium, me needing to, having to watch my sodium, me having to watch my sodium having to do with me retaining water? Like, I didn't understand that at the time, but listen, so the more sodium you intake, the harder it is for your kidneys to filter out the sodium from it. So when you have too much sodium in your body and your kidneys can't filter it out, it starts retaining water, right? So I was retaining water in my legs at the moment because I was having so much processed foods and foods with a lot of sodium that my body couldn't, like, get rid of it quick enough, pretty much. So that was like my biggest thing at the moment. I was so mad at the doctors for telling me I couldn't eat my Qdoba because, ooh, I was so hungry, y'all. So hungry. But I wanted to discuss that. And then also, when I was in the hospital, I talked about how I was really, really sick at first and how the medication made me feel worse before they made me feel better. And I was always like, oh, I'm gonna thug it out, right? Like,
You done fucked up, man. You done put two of America's most wanted.
I'm a thug. Like, this ain't nothing. Like, I'll be fine. Like, I don't need Tylenol. I'll be fine. Like, this is something that everyone has to deal with. I didn't tell y'all that while I was in the hospital, I had to eat the food from the hospital. So they have like children's hospital, they have like a little menu or whatever that you can get from the little cafeteria. The food, it isn't terrible, but I'm a really, really picky eater, like super picky. So all those foods were not it for me. I was miserable. And my family, you know how they're like, oh, we're gonna be with you, we're gonna get through this together, this is our fight, not in this alone. I felt like I was alone because my daddy, this is for you. My dad, he knows I love Ballast Cherry Pizza, right? And Famous Dave's. This man brought not one of them, but both of them while I was in the hospital bed, not able to eat either one of them. So my family in there eating good, while I'm sitting in there eating miserable. I'm sitting there eating mini corn dogs, and I think I had a little chicken Caesar salad, but it wasn't it, y'all. It wasn't, the food wasn't right. So I was in there so mad because like they would they would come in with the food, right? And they're like, oh well, we ain't gonna eat in front of y'all. But I already like smelled the aroma of the pizza, so I was like, I was so mad because Ballast Pizza. If y'all in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Ballast Pizza is the place to go. Their pizza is. So they would bring that, and they had like famous days. They bring like ribs, and I was so jealous. I was mad at everybody. I was so mad because I was like, why would y'all bring that here if y'all know I can't have it? Like, y'all can eat some nasty food with me. If we're eating this all together, y'all should be eating some nasty food too. I shouldn't be the only one eating it. Anyways, I forgave them for that because now I understand they need to eat too. But yeah, so that was another story I skipped over that I remember because I was just so angry at all of them. I'm like, why would y'all bring this good smelling food around me? And I'm like a foodie person. I'm a foodie. I love food. I love to eat. If I do anything, it is eat. If I'm bored, I'll eat. If I'm happy, I'll eat. If I'm sad, I eat. Anything, I'll eat. So for them to bring all these foods that they know I like in my room without me being able to eat them was like a slap in the face. Like, so yeah, but that was pretty much the stories that I have about being in the hospital. And yeah, so I just want to talk about how it feels to be sick. So once I was released from the hospital, my medications, I was doing pretty well with them. I wasn't getting sick as much, but one of the medications I take still, I'll talk about it in my next video that I'll make about the medications and their side effects and how that affects me. But one of the medications I take is called prednisone, and if you take it wrong or if you take it without food like you're supposed to, it can make you really, really sick. So, because it has like a really like bitter taste to it. So some days, like when I was like adjusting to it, so I would like not have enough food in my system, or I wouldn't drink enough juice with it, and like I could taste it and it make me like regurgitate, and I would throw up all the time. So I would like be getting sick, and I was like, oh sorry dad, like sorry. And I remember one time, my dad doesn't cry a lot, so to see him really hurt and cry, like it really like made me sad. So we were in the living room. I was getting sick because I took the medication wrong, and he started crying as he was holding like my throw up bag. He was crying, and I was like, I just kept apologizing, like, sorry dad, sorry, like I kept saying sorry. He's like, you don't ever have to apologize for being sick, like it's not your fault. And that just something that always stuck with me because I always blame myself at first, like I did something wrong to cause myself to catch this disease. So I was always like, oh sorry, like whenever I would get sick, like if I had a flare up, I'd be like, oh sorry, like sorry. But I want all my people to know that suffer from a chronic illness that it's not your fault, and you should never apologize for being sick, okay? Like, it's never your fault, and you have nothing to feel sorry for. Like, you can't help it. Your body is literally attacking itself. What can you do about that? So I just always thought about that in the back of my head whenever I get sick. Like, I shouldn't be saying sorry. I should be thinking about what I should do next to make myself feel better. So please, people that aren't sick, if you have a loved one that suffers from an illness, please don't try to make them feel guilty for it, because we already feel guilty enough for being sick. Like, we're the ones to blame. Because I'm gonna cry. Sorry if I cry, y'all, but I'm trying not to. But we always feel like there's something that we did to cause the disease, or something that we could have done to prevent it from happening, but it's really nothing that we could have done. It's nature, it's God, that I believe God gave me this disease because there's a lesson in it for us. It brought my family closer together in a sense. It slowed us down. It educated us. So I always try to see the good in my disease versus the bad from it. So I just want you guys to know that you're not alone, that it's not your fault, and that you should never, ever feel guilty for it, because what can you do? Like, you can't do anything. So yeah.
Happiness over everything, over anything, and it's everything.